Hello and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United transfer news daily and we're going to fly straight into it today. It's been a really good week for Manchester United transfers, hasn't it? 2 players in. Hopefully we're going to get a couple out very soon as well. Fellaini, Darmian, but some contrast. What a surprise. Contrasting transfer views. I don't know where to start really. Let's start off with Dele Alli to Manchester United because that's going to happen. I mean, this was I saw this on Sky Sports last night that Dele Alli has said that Spurs is the right place for him at the moment, despite and he didn't say this, and then it goes on to say there's been interest from Real Madrid, Barcelona and Manchester United. I mean, do they just chuck the 3 big clubs in the world against the player just to make... Well, they do. That's what they do. I don't understand why people get frustrated like that because it has been happening for years. But basically, if you want a little bit of a transfer story, just say he's on Manchester United's radar. Boom. And it's away. So there we go. Dele Alli isn't going to come to Manchester United, is he? Never, never, never. And we'll actually, before we talk about Mourinho's big U-turn or surprise, let's talk about Spurs and the Dele Alli thing. Close that off, but say if he was even wanting to come to United, you've got a huge hurdle. I mean, it's not even a jump. It's like you're going to need the climbing gear to get over Daniel Levy because he is very, very, very difficult to deal with when it comes to transfers. And there was something that came out yesterday about Toby Alderweireld where Manchester United have had a £55 million bid reportedly denied. And United are going to have to go back. We actually put a tweet out on Twitter, funnily enough. Tweeting on Twitter, who'd have thought? On that United Stand MUFC, saying that if Manchester United spend £55 million on a 29-year-old who's been injured the last couple of seasons and not played much, then we're mugs. And I don't know what you think. I know a lot of you want Toby Alderweireld, but £55 million. He's 29 in August, and he has been out for half of this season and half of last season. It's ridiculous amounts of money. Go and get Clement Lenglet, who we were talking about yesterday from Sevilla, who's 22 and can be as good as Alderweireld. But I mean, are we going to go down that path of Jose wanting short-termism? I don't know. I like Toby Alderweireld, but £55 million is ridiculous. In a year's time, you can get him for 25. Because he's got a release clause, and what's the difference between 29 and 30? At the end of the day, it's still coming towards the end of their career. I'd rather wait a year, give Lindelof and Bailly and Rojo the reins, with Smalling and Jones backing them up. I'd rather wait a year and get Toby Alderweireld when he's 30 for £30 million less. It's mad business if we go and spend 55 million on him. And also, the thing is, the injury thing massively concerns me about that. So I'm hoping that there's nothing in that, but I think it came from somebody who's a staff writer for the BBC or something like that. I'm sure I saw that on Twitter. I know Alex Shaw from ESPN commented on it. But we are in that situation, aren't we? But before I go on to that and clarify that a little bit further, I mean, this really interesting from The Independent. I think it was Miguel Delaney saying that The Independent have been told that Jose Mourinho or Manchester United are only now looking for an attacker, a backup attacker, that especially in relation to the left-back position, where I'm going to talk about Kieran Tierney in a minute, Alexandro, United were interested in them. They're not anymore. They've got Luke Shaw to back up Ashley Young, who was one of their best performers last season. I'm reading from the article effectively. And that what Mourinho's now focusing on is a backup striker for Romelu Lukaku. I can tell you now, I'll keep saying this, if Ashley Young's our first choice left back next season, we're not winning the league. We're not winning the Champions League. Carabao Cup is our ceiling. He is not good enough. In fact, we'll be fighting for top 4. He is not good enough to be a left-back in a team that's going to win the league. I know City did it with Fabian Delph there, but City's team is infinitely better than ours at the moment. We can't afford to carry people like Ashley Young as a left-back. As a backup, as a squad player, I really like Ashley Young. But Mourinho, if it was going to be Luke Shaw first choice, I'd say I like that risk. But we know that whilst Luke Shaw's breathing oxygen at Manchester United, he's always going to be Ashley Young's understudy. And Ashley Young is not going to win as a title. Even more concerning is, what if that's it? What if we're only buying Dalot, Fred and a backup striker for Lukaku? I took my breath away. I was like, we are in big trouble. This Fred and Dalot signing are meant to be the start of 3 or 4 more signings that are going to really, really improve us. And I believe that's what's going to happen. But it'd be remiss of me not to talk about this article in The Independent by Miguel Delaney saying that we're not going to be going for a left back. We're just going for a backup striker. Now, it maybe the way the article was written, it was maybe it was made to make you think that. But I can't believe that we wouldn't get another midfielder, that we wouldn't get a right midfielder, that we're not going to get a centre-back, and we're not going to get a left-back. I think we need 4 more. But if we were only going to sign a backup striker, and in there is the backup striker, you've got Arnautovic and Mandzukic mentioned. I mean, imagine if that was our summer. Dalot, Fred and Arnautovic. Tell you what, take 5th place now. I mean, seriously, take 5th place now. Because the midfield would not be improved enough. So I hope there's nothing in that article. But I read a lot of things on social media and articles and everything like that, and a lot of people are saying if we don't sort that left back position out, we are in a big amount of trouble, because Ashley Young is just not going to win us things that really matter. He's just not a left back. He's not. He's good going forward, but he's not a left back. And I agree with that. Which brings us on to Kieran Tierney from Celtic. I think he's 20 years of age now. Been a revelation there, absolute revelation. Plays for Scotland. Rumoured that Mourinho went up to have a look at him a couple of times during last season. Very, very sort of sought after. I like the look of him. In fact, I was emailed about this the other day, and to mention him, because we haven't mentioned him for a long time. It could happen. I don't know what Celtic would want. I mean, Celtic can't really command 40 million for him, but would they want 20, 30? I mean, Sandro's probably going to cost 40. Alex Sandro's the one I want us to sign, and I think we can. If we want a left back, get Sandro. He wants to leave Juventus. He may well sign a new contract at Juventus because there aren't better offers out there. But I'm sure if Manchester United go for Alex Sandro, Manchester United get Alex Sandro. So that's what I want us to do. If we couldn't do that deal for whatever reason, then Kieran Tierney I would take. But he's got to be. Whoever comes in has got to come in as the first choice left back. That's why I always say Sandro. We've got to get in somebody who's the first choice left back, because he's never going to let Luke Shaw do it, and it cannot be Ashley Young. So we do need to go and get a left back. I do like Kieran Tierney. As I've said in the past, I've not said it for a few weeks, my only concerns with him is I'm a little bit longer in the tooth than some people, and I know the difference between the Scottish Premier League and the Premier League, and it's a big difference. And what traditionally happens is good Scottish Premier League players end up playing for teams like Everton. They don't really come and play for the top 4 teams. There's been a few exceptions, but it's quite rare for that to happen. In fact, I can't think of any off the top of my head that have come to United. I know we've had loans with like Andy Gorham as a backup goalkeeper. Larson came on a 4 or 5 month loan. He was a brilliant striker. So it can be done, but I suppose me personally, I always do worry about that, because it's a big jump from playing Scottish Premier League football to the Premier League. Having said that, if he's played European football, it's only the same as what we're saying about Fred. Shakhtar Donetsk, Ukrainian league, isn't very good. It's a big jump to the Premier League. The good thing about Fred is he regularly plays international football. Regularly plays Champions League football, European football, and he shines in that as well. So it's probably a little bit. The reality is, if you're class, you're class. And Kieran Tierney looks like he's got a lot of class, so he could probably make the transition easily. And let's not forget, his age is a good thing. So if he came down now, customised to the Premier League, it would be good. But I don't know if we signed a player like that, whether Mourinho would throw him straight in. We'd see another understudy. And I just think it's so important that Ashley Young's not our left back. Really, really do. And I really hope there's nothing in that independent argument, because if all we're looking for is a backup striker, we're in big trouble. But I have said this many times to people over the week. We've done two really good bits of business, and I really want to get your opinion on this. What do you think we're going to spend? And I think we've sort of touched on it a little bit, but what do you think we're going to spend? What do you think is available? That's probably even more important, because people talk about Griezmann or Milinkovic. I mean, it's very easy. We've spent 50 on Fred, 20 on Dalot. That's 70 million spent. Let's say we get 20 million for Darmian, but forget net at the moment. We've spent 70 million. If you spent 55 on Alderweireld, that takes you up to nearly 130. If you spent 50 on Sandro, that takes you to nearly 200. And if you get Milinkovic Savic, that's 300 million. And all you've got is 2 midfielders, 2 fullbacks, and a centre-back. No attackers. So 300 million. I don't think we're spending 300 million. And I think when you look over the last few seasons, it always seems we are a very rich club. We know that. The fans pour money into this club. We've got a lot of money. But we also know that we're a business, and we've got shareholders, and they want their share. And that's why they're shareholders. And you'll have a budget. And I think, I've said it to a couple of people this week, I'm a little bit worried. What if we've only got £150 million to spend? We've spent half of it now. We've already spent half of it. If we've only got £80 million left, What are we going to get for 80 million? You can't even get Alderweireld and Sandro for 80 million. You can't get Savic for 80 million. So we could only have 80. We could have 130, which would get you 2 more players, wouldn't it? But I do think we need to bear that in mind. Well, how much have we got to spend? How much is Mourinho being given to spend? And then when you talk about net spend, well, of course you can deduct what we get back from sales. Darmian 15, Blind 15, 30 million. That's about our limit. I can't see anybody else going unless something horrible happens, like Martial goes, which would give you another 50, or you know. So it is very important what we're going to spend. So it's been a very good week for Manchester United. Hopefully we've got 3 or 4 more signings to come. But what do you think about that? Thanks everyone for watching. Give us your thoughts on that independent article. What would you think if we were only going to sign 1 more player and it's a backup striker like an Artovic? Also, Alderweireld, how much do you think we should be paying for him? How much would you be happy for us to pay for him, if anything at all? And left back, Kieran Tierney, do you think he's good enough? And also, how much do you think we've got to spend? Lots for you to get commenting about today. Drop a like on the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.